Hello, boys and girls. Mrs. Reed here again, and today we're going to work on lesson 29, problem set. Again, if we read the objective at the bottom of the page, it says compare fractions with the same numerator using the signs less than, greater than, or equal than, and using a model to reason about their size. What does a model mean? A model just means some kind of a picture. And you know, these are my favorite problems because the first one is already done for us. The directions say label each shaded fraction. Use greater than, less than, or equal to compare. The first one has been done for you. So we have a fraction strip here divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts. 2 6 are shaded, so that's where they got the 2 6. Over here we have 3 equal parts and 2/3 are shaded. And if we look at these, we can see that 2 6 is much smaller than 2/3. So we would write 2 6 is less than 2/3. Now I might suggest that you label each unit in your models because it's a good habit to get into. So I'm going to do that on the next one as I do it for you, okay? So number 2, we have 4 equal parts in the circle, so each one will be 1/4. I'll label each one 1/4. And in the second circle, we have 8 equal parts, so each one will be 1/8. All right, and then we're going to write down the fraction that represents the shaded part. So this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. The circle on the left. And then 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. The circle on the right is 3/8 shaded. And now I can look at this and I can say, oh my goodness, 3/4 is much larger than 3/8. Okay, I'm going to let you do the last two, 3 and 4, independently on your own. And we're going to go down to the number line because we can also use number lines to compare fractions. So it says partition each number line into the units labeled on the left, then use the number line to compare the fractions. The first number line tells us to use halves, and they have my 0 and 1 in the same spot on every single number line, which is really helpful. That's the way I know my wholes are the same. So halves means 2 equal parts. So I am going to split this number line right in half. That's right about in half. And then I'm going to label it 0 halves, 1 half, and 2 halves. Okay, the next one says fourths. So we know how to do fourths. We make our halves first, and then we split our halves in half, and that just gives us a better chance of making equal parts. Okay, and then when I label these, I'm going to try to write small so I can fit it in here. This will be 0/4, this will be 1/4, this will be 2/4, this will be 3/4, and this will be 4/4. And then my last one is eighths. So this is great because I can take my fourths that I just made on my previous one. I need 8 equal parts, so I'm going to make my fourths. And then if I cut my fourths in half, I will have 8 equal parts. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and label those. I'll label these down here so we don't run out of room. 0/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. All right, so the fractions they want me to compare, the first one is 3/8 and 3/4. So I'm going to find 3/8, and let's see, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8 is right here, and I'm going to put a dot there. And then I'm going to find 3/4. Well, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 is all the way over here. And remember, we can tell how big a fraction is by its distance from 0. Just like we can tell 10 is bigger than 5 because 10 is further away from 0 on the number line. So 3/8 is the smaller fraction because it's closer to 0. 3/4 is the bigger fraction because it's further away from 0. So when I compare those, I'm going to say 3/8 is less than 3/4. Okay. The next one is 4/4. Well, where is 4/4? 4/4 is over here at 1. 4/4 is a special fraction. It's a whole number fraction. So we find it at the same place 1 is on the number line. And then we have 4/8. I got to come down to my eighths number line, and 4/8 is right here in the middle. Well, now I can tell 4/8 is this close to 0. 4/4 is all the way over here. So 4/8, or 4/4 rather, is greater than 4/8 because it's further away from 0. Okay, and then the last one is 2/4 and 2/8. So 2/4 will be right here. 2/8 will be here. Again, 2/8 is closer to 0 than 2/4. So 2/8 is smaller, 2/4 is bigger. So we would write 2/4 is greater than 2/8. Very good. Let's go to page 2. Okay. It says, draw your own model to compare the following fractions. So I have 3/10 and 3/5. We could draw number lines, but I don't know that I really have enough room. I would need 4 number lines to do both of these. So I'm just going to draw fraction strips. Remember, I'm going to make my fraction strips the same size by stacking them on top of each other. Then I know that my holes are the same. And the first one, I need tenths. So boy, oh boy, I need 9 lines. I think I'll do the fifths first, just because it's easier to draw 4 lines and get them equal. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and I'm going to draw my lines lightly just in case I have to erase 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 lines gave me 5 parts, so I do have fifths. So I'm going to label those. And now the nice thing about having my fifths first is I can use those lines to make my tenths. And let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw lines in the same spot. Some of you might already know why I'm doing it this way. So now I've got 5 parts, but I need 10 parts. So all I got to do is divide my 5 parts in half, and then I will have 10 equal parts. And I can label each one with a 1/10. And then I'm going to shade the fractions they have for me to compare. So I need 3/10, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and 3/5, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. And now when I look at them, 3/5 is much bigger than 3/10. So I can also say 3/10 is less than 3/5. And there's my model. Okay, over here, I'm going to do 2/6 and 2/8. So 2/6, again, I'm just going to draw fraction strips. My first one I'll divide into 6 equal parts. So I'm going to do thirds and then split them in half. And draw my 1/6 in each part. 6 equal parts means 6. Okay, and then I'm going to shade 2/6. And then I need to do 2/8. So I'm going to draw a same size fraction strip underneath here. Divide this one into 8 equal parts. So that means halves, fourths, and then split my fourth in half. And then each one of these will be 1/8. And in the interest of speeding this up, I'm not going to finish labeling those, but I do need to shade 2/8. And when I look at 2/6 compared to 2/8, 2/6 is the bigger fraction. So 2/6 is greater than 2/8. And now they're just going to have us do it in the context of a word problem. So it says, John ran 2/3 of a kilometer after school. Nicholas ran 2/5 of a kilometer after school. Who ran the shorter distance? Use the models below to support your answer. Be sure to label one hole is 1 kilometer. So this would be 1 kilometer. And this is 1 kilometer. That's our hole. Okay. Now, 2/3 is what John ran. So this is be John's, and I'm going to label each one with 1/3. And then, you know how I like my labels. So I'm going to put a J here to show that that is John's fraction strip. And we're going to shade to show that he ran 2/3 of a kilometer. And then when we come down here, this can be Nicholas. Maybe it's Nicholas Crawford's. I don't know. And he ran 2/5 of a kilometer after school. So I'm going to label each one of these equal parts 1/5. And then I'm going to shade 2/5 there. And now we can see that John ran further than Nicholas because 2/3 is greater than 2/5. So who ran the shorter distance? I guess that's what we're really saying. We're going to write our target sentence. We're going to write Nick ran the shorter distance. Okay, very good. All right, last problem. Thanks for bearing with me, boys and girls. Erica ate 2/9 of a licorice stick. Probably could do this on your own. It's exactly like the one above it, except it's licorice sticks instead of kilometers. Robbie ate 2/5 of an identical licorice stick. And see, there's that word identical, tells you that they're the same size. Remember, we cannot compare fractions if they're not the same size wholes. Who ate more? Well, 2/9. This is certainly the fraction strip divided into ninths. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to label that E for Erica. And then Robbie ate 2/5. So this would be Robbie's. And I can label each one. If you're good at labeling fractions or writing your fractions with a sideways line, that will make it easier for you to fit those in here. So each one of these is 1/5 because there's 5 equal parts, and then up here they would be 1/9, 1/9, 1/9. And I'm not going to continue doing that because I'd like to get this done, and you guys can do that at home. So 2/9 would be this much of the licorice stick that Erica ate, and 2/5 would be this much of the licorice stick that Robbie ate. And the question was, who ate more? Well, when I compare the shaded part of Robbie's licorice stick to the shaded part of Erica's, it looks like Robbie ate more. And we can even add, you know, Robbie ate more because 2/5 is greater than 2/9. All right, boys and girls, that is lesson 29, problem set. And I hope that you found this helpful to check your work. Thank you.